You know, and also I'm in this part where I'm just developing new material. So it's like now I have to like really be invested in trying to make these new bits work. It's like when you get together an hour and you're headlining and it's killing, it's like, okay, now I just got to keep this polished and tight. But when you have new stuff, it's like, like I got to figure out a way to make this work. And that's exciting too.
So what percentage, because some of the jokes were older jokes, but what percentage of it was new stuff, would you say last night?
Was half.
Yeah. Half new stuff?
Half of it was new.
That's a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
That's a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, and that's over the last 4 or 5 months that I've developed all that new stuff. So it's exciting. And it's dangerous because like when you record, and I recorded something, I haven't released it yet, but when I record something, I then have to throw all that material away and come up with a whole new hour. So what I do is I record, and then in the time before I release it, that's like crunch time, where I have to develop a whole new set. And then when I release a special, then that material's burnt forever. And so now I have to like figure out how to make this new stuff as good as the old stuff.
I feel like riffing when you're talking feels a lot easier to me than like writing something down and then trying to go through it in a way. Because if I write something down and I try to go through it, I feel like I start sounding robotic, and I'm not connecting to it as well.
Yeah.
So when I riff, that's when people are more interested in what I'm saying, because you know, you could hear that it actually is coming from my core as I'm saying it. Yeah. So that's what seems very difficult about comedy to me, is that because you always talk about how you write, and so like you have to write down your bits, and then you have to deliver it in a way that doesn't feel robotic, that feels like you're still connecting with the words.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Tony said last night, he's like, I don't even write. He said, I don't even write my bits.
Yeah,
and to me, I feel
does
like
it differently than
if
me.
I was a comedian, I'd be more like him, because if I write it down, I'll be like, and then this is the part of the joke where, like, it just wouldn't come out.
Right, but you don't have to say it that way. Like, I think everybody does it differently, and some people don't ever write, and some of the best comics alive don't ever write. But I feel like you should do all those things. I feel like comics are inherently lazy. And
it's a funny sentence.
This thing, but that's one of the reasons I led them to do comedy. They're like, I don't want to work. Fuck this. You know, fuck this job. And then you like say something funny about the job, and everyone's like, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'm funny. Well, that sort of rebellious mentality leads you to not want to be disciplined. But I think there's a big value in sitting in front of a computer and just spending time going over ideas. Like some of my best bits I've come up with just writing, just sitting down and writing and then piecing them together. And then the skill is to try to figure out a way to riff those concepts and get it to the point where it's funny.
Do you see a big difference day to day in terms of your delivery? Like some days we go up there and just be like, I'm just off today. Like I'm not nailing it today. And other days you're like, oh, I'm cranking it right now.
For sure. Yeah, there's days where you're better. But it's like you got to figure out, well, what was different about the day when I was off? You know, maybe I didn't get as excited. Maybe I didn't pace enough and warm up enough. Maybe I didn't like treat it with a lot of weight. Like you got to like, there's a lot of heaviness to like going on stage. Like, here we go. And then you also have to be like looser on stage sometimes. And it's like there's a lot of variables, which is why it's exciting.
Do you feel like more pressure the better? The more pressure you feel, the better you do?
You need some pressure. Yeah, you need some pressure.
That's interesting.
I get nervous for every show.
That means you love it.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods said that. He's like, yeah, I get nervous before every round, and that's how I know I still love it.
Yeah, that's what fighters say too. Like, but fighters say the worst feeling is like when you're not nervous. Because if you're not nervous and you go, and some of them are fine with that, but a lot of them, they want to be on edge. They want to be like in the green room getting ready, like,
yeah, yeah.
You know, because then the nerves and everything is you're excited about this moment, and it's an important moment for you, and that's important.
You know you care.
Yeah.
You know you care.
Yeah, you
in a situation like that. Yeah.
You gotta care, and you know people don't like to be uncomfortable, but I think through being uncomfortable, that's where the growth comes. That's where you learn things.
Yeah. Well, after you feel nervous and then you do the thing and you do it well.
Yeah.
The feeling of relief you get afterwards is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like I went on the PBD podcast recently, Patrick Bet David, and I went in there they're like sort of like a grind set show. I wouldn't know how to describe make money, hustle culture, that sort of stuff. And I went in there, and as somebody who's on the left, you know, they're not really going to agree with me on it, but they're nice enough guys, and you know, they're in favor of open dialogue and discussion of different ideas. And I was like, hey, this should be fun. And so I went in there knowing it was a little bit like the Lion's Den. So I was a little nervous, but I went in there and the conversation went great. They're really nice guys. We got a great reaction to it. And the feeling afterwards of relief was like, oh.
That's interesting because you went in there like ready to do battle.
No, I didn't go in there thinking like there's going to be a fight.
But contentious, perhaps.
Yes, I thought, they're not going to agree with me on some stuff, and so I need to be able to explain myself in a way that can change their mind or at least give them pause and make them rethink it. And I think I largely succeeded on that front. A lot of people in their own audience said, hey, I like what this guy had to say.
No,
so
you did a great job. I watched some clips from that. You did a great job. He's a great guy. He really is a great guy.
He's fair. He was fair.
Genuine.
Yeah, he was genuine. He wasn't trying to because some people, if you have a debate and they're different perspectives, some people will go in with like the I'm going to own this person mindset, and that's not him. He just genuinely wanted to know, like, how do you think about this? Tell me what you think about this.
Even when he doesn't agree with you, he's fair.
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
He's a very genuine person, and that's the appeal, and that's why he's doing so well. We talked about that, the authenticity that I talked about last night with Krystal, saying with you guys and with Sagar and with Jimmy Dore, and even if you don't agree with people, what they're saying, I know that's what you genuinely believe and feel, and it's based on thinking, it's based on your research, it's based on your comprehension of whatever the subject you're talking about. This is your real opinion, and that's what people are missing in mainstream media, and that's why you guys are eating their lunch. That's why you're killing it. There's a real reason for it, because people have been deprived of that by executives and networks that are orchestrating everything and giving people talking points and making people stay in these narrow parameters. Did you say there was a woman that was, I forget who she was interviewing, but she was talking about something about climate change, and she was asking a question, and then she goes, okay, all right, I'm getting in trouble now. Let me, because she has an earpiece in.
Oh, shit.
And so someone's saying, get off the climate change, stop talking about.
Producer in the ear,
and so she has to course correct in the middle of the thing, which is virtually impossible.
Yeah.
And also fucks up the flow that makes people resonate with what you're saying. Because I want to know that if you and Patrick Bet David are disagreeing about a subject, I want to know that it's your thoughts and his thoughts. Like, let me see which one I agree with. Let me see why Kyle feels the way he feels and why Patrick disagrees. And let me see them work this out.